onto the track before Holden Racing Team. And skates back into action as well.
This weekend also, they've got a new switch on the steering wheel for pit lane speed control. It's previously been just a sprung-loaded push button. Now it's actually a switch which is switched on at the entry and switched off at the exit.
I would imagine it'd be quite a bit of a handful trying to get the thing out the pits when they're getting it to sort of light up a bit and spin the wheels.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's probably been implemented to just try and calm that process down. Obviously, that's... And Russell has now decided to come in, lap 4 of 32.
This man was talking about that pit lane exit speed, Barry, wasn't he? Russell Ingall just telling us the other night that it's really hard. The car sort of has to jolt down before it picks up speed and gets back out onto the lap. And that seems to be the major problem. Yep. Not only that, but also sitting there at 40 Ks as you're going through this, it's just a nightmare. Yeah,
the difficult part now, Matthew, is that you just can't launch them as quickly as you previously could.
Well, that's exactly right, Neil. We watched a couple of them come in and try to do exactly that. Now, there's the top two have come in. Good stop here by Russell. And you can see as he's leaving pit lane there that it almost stalls. The car almost stalls as it leaves. The revs get right down low. But Paul Morris also came in to complete his stop. Then Tony Longhurst, I can tell you, has come in. There's a lot of damage to the right rear on that car, and the boys had to do a quick bit of panel work before they sent him out again.
And Greg, just to add a comment to that, if you actually go for too much throttle percentage when the car drops off the jacks, then that's what causes the drama. And I believe that out in the centre of the circuit, as we look at Murphy, Lowndes has gone off over there as well on the outside of the sweeper, and he had reached position 4 at that point. So it's all happening. Murphy's the new leader from Larkham, Bow, Lowndes, Tander, Tratt, Bernard, Bright, Romano and Ambrose. But remember, it'll all tumble around while these pit stops are in process.
Lowndes is stranded over there near the gum tree on turn 8. He's on the infield, and it looks like he just cannot get the car off that grass. It's like an ice skating rink out there. He's got no traction. Car just sitting still. Meanwhile, we're on board with Greg Murphy. He's coming for his stop now. Was the race leader for a few moments' time.
There's Craig Lowndes.
Look at that.
There's so much water out there. And that sweeper is just deadly, isn't it? As you come around there, you're pushing quite a bit of speed into that left-hand turn, and Lowndes has obviously just speared straight through.
Looks like a bit of a ding on the left-hand door. Oh, that's where it came from. This is him and Tander.
Contact with Tander.
That was the previous lap. He actually came off the sweeper.
Something just came off the car as well there, went off to the right of screen. So poor old Craig Lowndes. The last time we'll see this Ford, if all goes according to plan for Bathurst, he'll have a brand new Ford out of the Gibson Motorsport team.
Valvoline Cummins car in, it's Garth Tander. So Larkham now is race leader. We'll have to let these pit stops evolve and let the timing monitor catch up to give you a true track position.
It's almost a question there as you watch these cars leaving the pits that the gentler you drive, the better off you are. The more aggressive you are, the worse it is.
Yeah, you have a good look at that. They're getting out virtually as quick, aren't they?
That's right.
And then the good thing about it is you don't have to get on the brakes to slow the thing back before going over 40 mile an hour.
In all the tumbling, this is the new race leader, Mark Larkham. He's got John Bauer right behind him. They're circulating at the moment in mid to high 25s. And one of the things that's happened here this weekend, because of the amount of rain on the circuit, is that it continues to get a wash and there's no rubber build-up, so it'll actually be reasonably hard on tyres at the moment. This is Russell Ingall doing battle with Greg Murphy, I believe.
Yeah, it is. Yes,
well, there's cars sliding off all over the place. Paul Wheel, we hear, has come to grief in the K&J car.
Craig Lowndes is still stranded out there as well, so there's 2 cars on the infield of this track that are stranded. They haven't moved.
Scaife is quickest on the circuit at the moment, 24.3. He's down at 15.
That's an interesting view that when you see both cars in this battle here and we're looking at them from opposing directions. I actually have to get a slide ruler to figure that out, I think. Russell's got a little bit more pace than Greg there coming through turn 12, the final turn. You can see the pits are off to the left there. And coming down here to turn 1, you talked before, Matthew, about the difficulty. There's a big bump right there where they go across the old track at Winton. And it tends to upset the cars under brakes. It unweights the car at a critical moment. Very easy to lock a brake, very easy to go straight ahead.
We've still got some pit stops to evolve, but effectively we're looking at the battle for the lead here. It's Greg Murphy and Russell Ingall have both made their stops. They were well up the road. Every car in front of them is yet to make their compulsory stop, so even though these 2 guys are running 9th and 10th or 8th and 9th on the road, they're effectively battling over the race lead.
Greg Murphy in the Kmart Commodore car number 51. He's had 3 third placings. In fact, everything seems to be going in threes for Greg Murphy this year. A third at round 3, a third at round 6, and a third at round 9.
But his missus did only have one baby.
And I bet you they're both happy about that. Of course, finished third with Todd Kelly at the Queensland 500 and heads off to Bathurst in 4 weeks' time as a 2-time winner at Mount Panorama.
It's been an amazing weekend for Russell Ingall and the Castrol team so far. They go on board with Greg Murphy, who is, as I said, effectively a race leader. We still have some cars to peel off and make their compulsory stops in front of them on the track. But these guys will slowly move their way up the order.
Quite a bit of damage on the front left there of Greg's car, although I don't think it's going to have any effect on the performance of the vehicle. It doesn't take much of a knock in terms of the front geometry to change the balance of these cars, though.
Seeing the cat team there, all the cat guys say hello to Neil Barton, sitting home watching this on television, and he wishes he was here. It's freezing cold here, Neil, so it's probably better in Queensland.
Neil was one of the cat team members who were injured in that incident at Oran Park. And everyone in the team, everyone in the paddock wishing Neil a quick recovery. Great battle here, though. Greg Murphy and Russell Ingall locked in this battle.
Glenn Seaton, last year a pole, a race win and 3rd overall. Now in race 1 you've parked it. What a horrible start to the day.
Yeah, it's just the carnage that goes on in the first corner here because it's such a funny corner that there's so much accidents happen. But just Bradley got spun by someone and sitting in the middle of the road and didn't leave a lot of track for a lot of cars to come through, and we just all come together, ripped the front out.
Broken steering arm in the front left corner, was that right?
No, ripped the whole control arm out of the front cross member, so it's pretty hard to fix those things in a short amount of time.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you.
Good situation this for Russell Ingall. He's come into this round 4th in the Shell Championship points, 262 behind Championship leader Mark Scapes. Scapes further back in the order, but he's inside the top 10 now. He's 8th from charging.
A little bit of a late strategy call as far as the Stone brothers are concerned. They haven't gone with the trend, if you like, of stopping early. David Bernard has just come in and had his compulsory stop. The team tell me, I've just had a word to them, they're going to leave Marcus Ambrose out as long as they possibly can and let him take advantage of this clear track.
Well, remember that Marcus was one of those that went grass skiing at turn 1 at the opening corner, and so he now needs to kind of flip the traditional strategy because of that. And, this is actually turning into a pretty fascinating battle because it looks to me like Russell's got just a little more pace in a couple of places. Greg's got some other advantages. He's pretty strong in this part of the circuit, the old turn 1, turn 2. You can see that he's opened up the gap, but if you recall, when they were working through the last set of corners, Rusty was virtually in a position to be able to give him a tap.
One of the fastest cars on the track at the moment is Ambrose. 1:24.8 he did on lap 8. Still a few other cars. Scapes gone a little bit quicker, so too Greg Murphy.
The fastest lap at the moment belongs to Paul Radicic, set in lap 6 at 1:24.333. As we take a look at Anthony Tratton, you just go back to Murphy versus Ingall, 2 drivers at the moment with nice clear heads, not only clear track. Murphy, there's Paul Radicic trying to get out of that bog on the infield.
No, I don't think so.
Just shows how slippery it is. A slick tyre on wet grass.
There has been a massive amount of rain here in the last few days. At night it's been extraordinary. See what happened?
Wouldn't be surprised to get a safety car out here soon. There's cars lying all over the place at the moment.
That started when he got up on the ripple strip.
And they're painted, aren't they, Neil? They're very slippery.
That's just up at the top of Penrite. Should come out of the sweeper, so Paul Radicic stuck in the mud.
But it started when the car tripped up on the inside ripple strip and launched up onto 2 wheels, and then he ended up on the outside ripple strip with the rear brakes locked.
He's not going to give up, is he?
He's going to do it as well.
He's going to make it.
Look at that.
A good effort.
Lap 10 of 32.
It's a patience test when you sit there and
I can imagine
the car moves about 10 millimetres a minute.
His race leader, Marcus Ambrose. Stone Brothers taking a punt on keeping him out there with a clear bit of track. 1:24.5. His fastest lap on lap 9, so he's punching out some quick times. Could this pay off? 10 seconds the gap over Cameron McLean. Eddie Abel-Neeser, but Greg Murphy and Russell Ingall, the first of the cars that have made their compulsory stop. Paul Morris, Mark Scape and Stephen Johnson behind those two.
We've already had some victims. Craig Lowndes is off. Paul Wheel and Glenn Seaton are all gone. Come back and join us for the Shell Championship Series after this. Welcome back to Winton, where the sun is shining on the Shell Championship Series, and we take a look at the Pertec Ford of Marcus Ambrose. Lap 11 of 32, race 1 of round 10.
Big gamble by the Stone Brothers team. They go on board with Marcus